Go.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hope you have good exam and FST6 paper 1. We are going to discuss the paper. On the whole, it is good quality paper. Hope you have done well in this paper, and we'll see from this paper. I guess you could understand the practicing the questions, whether it is irrespective of physical, organic, inorganic. Practicing is more important rather than just seeing or just attempting the exam. If you just attempt the exam without any practice, it has no meaning at all. Hope you can understand, and let's see FST6 paper 1 question number 41. Yeah, here it starts with question number 41. See, HNO2 when it reacts with urea, it gives X, Y and Z. They have given Z as in neutral oxide. Actually what happened here, when HNO2 reacts with urea, it forms N2, nitrogen gas. Along with that, it forms carbon dioxide gas. Sir, how can I know? Because here lime water is there. Lime water turns to milky. That is only possible with carbon dioxide. Likewise, neutral oxide. What is that neutral oxide here? H2O. Nitrogen, when it reacts with magnesium, it forms Mg3N2, magnesium nitride. When this magnesium nitride undergo hydrolysis, it is going to form magnesium hydroxide along with ammonia, NH3. When NH3 reacts with the CuO, it undergoes reduction. It acts as one of the best reducing agent, and it reduces Cu plus 2 to Cu, and it is going to form N2 plus 3H2O. That is why they have given again X. This one we know. Not only with the cupric oxide, along with the PbO also the same product will be formed. Cu also the same product will be formed. K2HgI4, that we all know that it is going to give brown PPT. That is the test for the ammonium ion. Here the question is, which of the following compounds have 2 pi bonds in its structure? 2 pi bonds in its structure. Nitrogen, it will be having 1 sigma bond and 2 pi bonds. Carbon dioxide, that will be having 2 sigma bonds and 2 pi bonds. Have you seen any other compound which is having the, even ammonia we know, even brown PPT also, that will be having mercury as well as nitrogen amide bonds will be there. So there will be no sigma bond at all. Here, where the pi bonds are present, here also pi bonds are present. Therefore, both nitrogen as well as carbon dioxide. Such that options are going to be A as well as B. Option A and option B. So, first they have given like this, and we were taken this compound and we just analyzed it. Next, question number 42. An impure metal M, when it reacts with 4 moles of carbon monoxide, temperature of 50 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, gives X. Metal carbonyl complex. Metal carbonyl complex. Which on further treatment with 200 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius, gives pure metal plus carbon monoxide. Hope you can understand this is going to be Mond's process. Yeah, in Mond's process, this metal which is going to be nickel. Nickel, when it reacts with 4 moles of carbon monoxide, it is going to form and it forms nickel pure metal. Van-Arkel process is also there. That is for zirconium along with iodine. Right? Zirconium along with iodine, titanium also. But here in this Mond's process, the given options are the metal M is nickel, correct. So A is true. Process is known as Mond's process, in which pure metal is obtained. That is also true. Hybridization of the metal in X is sp3. In X, this is nickel tetracarbonyl. We'll see. Nickel 4s2 3d8. Since carbon monoxide is a strong ligand, which is a strong ligand. Therefore, pairing up takes place. Hence, it is going to be 3D10, 4S0, 4P0. 3D10, here pairing up takes place again is the unstone. Now, it is going to be 1 4s orbital and 3 4p orbitals resultant to form 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals. Yes, it will be having sp3 hybridization. Carbon monoxide, we know that carbonyl is the strongest ligand. sp3 hybridization. Maximum 5 atoms are present in one plane in X. Maximum 5 atoms are present in one plane in X. That's we will see. sp3 hybridization, therefore, what could be the structure? The structure could be, what could be the structure? Yes, tetrahedron. In that, Ni, C, triple bond O, C, triple bond O, now this will be below the plane and it is going to be above the plane. Whereas who are present on the plane? These ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the whole, the maximum number of atoms which are present on the plane are going to be 5. On the whole, 5 atoms are present on the plane. Therefore, option is going to be 42. Option will be A, B, C and D. 42 A, B, C, D. Now question number 43. Yeah. In this question number 43, they have given one graph. In this graph, pressure is on y-axis and volume is on x-axis. And so don't scale the graph too much here. In this, they have given this is point A, B, C and D. Here the temperatures would are given as T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6 and T7. The process are through the number of isobaric process, through a number of isobaric cooling and adiabatic compression steps, 1 mole helium is compressed from 1 bar 300 Kelvin to 32768 bar 300 Kelvin. Let the process be accomplished in 3 steps. Those are AB, next one is going to be BC, next one which is going to be CD. Which means first A to B, then after B to C, then after C to D. From AB to BC, it is going to be, when it is moving from, rather than this, we could take like this now. If you take it from A to B, B to C, C to D. So AB process, BC process, CD process. Here 32 times increased and here also 32 times increased and here also 32 times increased. And they have given that this is isobaric process. This is also isobaric, this is also isobaric. These are isobaric, which is already mentioned in the problem also. Now 32 times increase, therefore on the whole it is going to be 32 whole cube, 32 times, 32 times, 32 times, 32 times, therefore 32 whole cube times. That value is equals to 32768 bar, which is already given. Now what we have to do is we need to verify these options. The first options which are going to be, what they are mentioning, this is going to be, first it is going to be isobaric cooling, then after compression. Isobaric cooling, then after compression. And they were given another one also, that is the process which is started at 300 Kelvin and it is ended at 300 Kelvin. That is already given in the problem, which means actually from here to here temperature decrement is taking place. Again, the temperature brought back to the same temperature. Otherwise, you could not get at the beginning as well as at the end at the same temperature. Hence, these temperatures, what are those temperatures? T1 is equals to T3 is equals to T5 is equals to T7. Hence, AB process, BC process, CD process, if they happen directly, which is going to be isothermal. Right, next. Next option. B, T2 equal to T4 equal to T6. Now let us check. Let us suppose that here the pressure is going to be some P1. Suppose that the pressure here it is going to be some P2. Let us suppose here the pressure is going to be some P3. P1, P2, P3. So these are going to be the pressures. Of course P1 is equals to P2, we know. No doubt about it. I am not saying that is wrong. That is absolutely true. You are spot on. Now as we know that P1 minus gamma T power gamma is equals to constant. Now P2 power 1 minus gamma T2 power gamma is equals to P3 power 1 minus gamma T3 power gamma. Now from this one we can write it as from P2 to P3 how many times the pressure is going to be increased? 32 times increased. Now let us, can we write like this? See, T2 divided by T3 power gamma is equals to P3 divided by P2 power 1 minus gamma. Now it's gonna be, here it will be T2 divided by T3 is equals to 32 times divided by 1 minus gamma divided by gamma. As we all know that the gas is, which gas is given? The gas is helium. The gas is helium. Its CV value is going to be 3R by 2 and its CP value is going to be 5R divided by 2. Hence its gamma value is equals to 5 divided by 3. 5 by 3. Now T2 divided by T3 is equals to 32 power 1 minus 5 by 3 divided by 5 by 3. Now it is going to be T2 divided by T3 is equals to 2 power 5. Now it is going to be minus 2 by 3 into 3 divided by 5. Gets cancelled. Minus 2 by 5, this 5 also gets cancelled. Hence it is going to be T2 divided by T3 is equals to 1 divided by 4, which implies that T3 is equals to 4 into T2. Or T2 is equals to T3 divided by 4. T2 is equals to T3 divided by 4. That is true. Now just now we in the problem also they have mentioned. Here the temperature was 300 Kelvin. That is true. Now what happened? Here isobaric cooling takes place. Here temperature is decreasing. Then after when it is reaching from T2 to T3 or from this state to this state, temperature should be increased and it has to reach to the 300 Kelvin. Now here 300 Kelvin, it is 75 Kelvin and it is going to be again 300 Kelvin. Again it is going to be 75 Kelvin. Again it is going to be 300 Kelvin. Again it is 75 Kelvin and again it is going to be 300 Kelvin. Such that in such case, if you solve for every stage, I have taken the stage of this one. If you solve this stage right from T4, P4 pressure, here T5, P5 pressure, here also some P7, P6, T6, T7, P7. If you consider like that, if you solve it, then you are going to get the same relations as we already seen. Those relations are going to be T5, T3 is equals to 4T2 we got. Similarly, we will get T5 is equals to 4T4 as well as T7 is equals to 4T6. Hence, this is going to be true. That is, T2 is equals to T4 is equals to T6. That is equals to T6. Now, from this one, here, at the end of each step, now Q total. Q is equals to, how can we calculate this one? It is going to be Cp into T2 minus T1. Whereas Q total is equals to, we have to take like this, Cp of first stage. So what is that first stage one? That is going to be Q of A to B plus Q of B to C and Q of plus Q of C to D. If we add all these ones, now it is going to be Cp. Cp into, what is that temperature? That is going to be T. It is equals to T2 minus T1. T2 minus T1 plus Cp into T4 minus T3 plus Cp into T6 minus T5. But as we know that these are going to be T2 minus T1, this we know. T4 minus T3 is nothing but T2 minus T1 from this one. T6 minus T5 is nothing but T2 minus T1. From this we can take it as 3 into Cp T2 minus T1. As we know that T2 temperature, we know what is that T2 temperature. What is that T2 temperature? Yeah, 75, and it is going to be 300. 3 into Cp value we know. What is that Cp value? 5 by 2 into R, that we know, and this is going to be minus 225. Now you will get the answer. Absolutely it is going to be minus 3375 calorie. Next, last one. Delta S system they are asking. Delta S system is equals to, as we know that, N into Cp ln T3 divided, or right from T7 divided by T1. Here pressure is going to be changed. Therefore I can take N Cp T7 divided by T1. T7 divided by T1, both of them are same. Therefore that is going to be 0 plus what we have to take? 1 mole of the gas, R into ln P1 divided by P2. What is the value of the P1? Let us suppose that is P. Another P2 is equals to 32 whole cube. Now it is going to be 1 divided by 32 whole cube. Now it will come out as minus 15R ln 2. It should be. But they have given it as plus. Therefore this is wrong. Hence the options are going to be, for this problem 43, the options will be A, B and C. These will be the options for this. So what we have done? We have calculated the relation between the temperatures here. See, we have calculated the relation between the temperatures here. First we have drawn that graph and we have taken the relation between the temperatures, how the pressure is changed. From that we were taken, this is, since it is an adiabatic process, therefore I can apply this formula. From this we have drawn the relation between the T3 as well as T2. Similarly, we were made up to how the remaining ones are related. Sir, why you have written like this? Because where the heat energy is involved, in which process heat energy is involved? Yes, isobaric cooling. That only I will take. Here only heat energy is involved. A remaining process and the rest of the process, that is going to be first one through number of isobaric cooling and adiabatic compression. Therefore, right from T1 to T2, only heat energy exchange involved. Whereas T2 to T3, no heat energy exchange involved because that is adiabatic. Is it correct or not? That's why I have written only QAB plus QBC plus QCD. But here in QAB, the temperature is changing from T1 to T2, T2 to T3. T2 to T3 is which type of process? Adiabatic. No heat energy change. 0. Here also 0 will come. That's why I have directly taken this one. Hope you can follow this one. So if you have a doubt, repeatedly you can see this. Right. Delta S system. This is a quite formula. From this we can calculate this. Right. Next. Question number 44. When nitrogen gas is adsorbed on the surface of metallic iron, electron transfer occurs from the metal to nitrogen. The true statements regarding this adsorption are, so what they are saying, for example, if this is the metal surface, and you have nitrogen like this, and these electrons are going to be formed, some weak van der Waals force of attraction is going to be established between these two. The reason for this is, if you look at the molecular orbital electronic configuration for this one, it is going to be sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, pi 2px2 is equals to pi 2py2, sigma 2pz2. Then after it will be, who will come? Then after then after who will come? Pi star 2px0 is equals to pi star 2pz0. Those are called least unoccupied molecular orbitals. So what is the LUMO here? The LUMO here is going to be pi star 2px is equals to pi star 2py. Both of them are going to be 0. HOMO is going to be sigma 2pz2. Diamagnetic, as we all know. Now we'll see. N2 is chemisorbed. Yes, chemisorption will take place because gradually the bond between these two is going to be strengthened and the bond between these two is going to be weakened. Hence chemisorption will take place. This is the process that will take place during the Haber's process. Next, N bond length will be increased. True, because as the bond strengthened in between these two, gradually the bond between these two nitrogens is going to be weakened. When the bond is weakened, because this bond is going to be disrupt or dissociate, or it is going to be breaking down. Now the bond length is going to be increased. That is also true. Occupancy of anti-bonding molecular orbitals of N2 is increased. Correct. When this metal surface releases electrons, who has to take those electrons? Those electrons has to be taken by these ones. U. Entropy is decreased. Absolutely true. When any gas, you take any gas, for example, any gas that is, any gas which gets adsorbed on the surface of the solid, entropy will decrease. Any gas which is going to form a solution with a liquid, entropy will be decreased. True. In both the cases, that is absolutely true. Therefore, here the option is going to be 44 A, B, C, D. This is not for this one. Last question. This is for 43 question. This is for 44. Next. Question number 45. Question number 45. A hypothetical solid A plus and B minus has R plus by R minus is equals to 2 minus root 2 divided by root 2. That is equals to 2 by root 2 minus 1. That is equals to 1 by root 2 root 2 minus 1, that is equals to 0.414. Absolutely true. Now it is going to be coordination number is equal to 6 and it is going to be octahedral complex. Yeah, octahedral shape is going to be octahedral. Now in this, obviously we can also say that is going to be FCC, octahedral wire. Now, if you look at this one, B minus touches total 18 ions, which is absolutely wrong. You just take this one, just assume sodium chloride crystal. In sodium chloride crystal, Cl minus ions participate or occupies where Cl minus ions are present in packing, where Na plus ions are present in octahedral wire. The same thing happened here also. Here also the same thing happened. Cl minus ions, which means B minus ions, are participated in the packing. A plus ions should occupy the octahedral wire. Each A plus ion will be surrounded by 6 B minus and each B minus ion will be surrounded by 6 A plus ions. Therefore, it is going to be octahedral wire. Now, B minus ion touches total 18 ions. That is absolutely false. It is going to be only 6, nothing more than that. A plus touches total 6 ions. That is true. Each body diagonal passes through the center of 2 cations and 1 anion of unit cell. Now if you just see, I'm just drawing this. Now this is going to be B minus ion. Here also we have B minus ion, 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 B minus. Where A plus ions are present? Edge centers. All these edge centers, as well as where they are present? Absolutely true, at body center. Here, this is A plus. Now if you pass the any body diagonal, for example, if this is the body diagonal, now it is passing through this B minus, A plus and B minus. I guess the answer you know. Each body diagonal passes through the center of 2 anions and 1 cation of the unit cell, right? Therefore, here there is a correction. Yes, I am telling you there is a correction. The answer is going to be both B as well as D. They have given A, B, C, D, but that is absolutely wrong. Now, let's see the question number 46. Let's see the question number 46. In question number 46, which of the following statements are correct about SO2Cl2? Yes, double bond O, Cl, Cl. Now, this is going to be the structure of thionyl chloride, right? Or sorry, sulfuryl chloride, SO2Cl2. In this, what could be the bond angle? What could be the bond angles? Now, when compared with, if you remember the VSEPR theory, every single bond, which is always to be considered as one pair, double bond is also considered as one pair, but double bond repulsions, bond pair repulsions are more. Therefore, OSO bond angle is always be greater when compared with OSCl, when compared with ClSCl. Therefore, first option is going to be true. So, OSO bond angle is greater because of what repulsions? Yes, double bond, bond pair repulsions. Then after OSCl, then after ClSCl. Next, number of p-pi bonds is less than number of p-pi d-pi bonds. Number of p-pi bonds. How many number of p-pi bonds are there? Here you just see once. Here in SO2Cl2, even you take H2SO4 also, the same thing. H2SO4 also. This is one sigma bond. This is a p-pi d-pi bond, my dear. This is also p-pi d-pi bond. You take SO3 also. In SO3 there will be how many p-pi d-pi bonds are present? Yes, 2 p-pi d-pi bonds are present. One p-pi bond is present. That p-pi bond is already broken when you reacted with some chlorine, and it is going to form SO2Cl2. In this, number of p-pi d-pi bonds are 2, number of p-pi bonds are 0. Yes, number of p-pi d-pi bonds are dominated. 1 mole of this reacts with 0.1 mole of P4. Let us see. 10 moles of SO2Cl2 reacts with P4, gives rise to, it is going to form 4 moles of PCl5 plus 10 moles of SO. Now you see, 10 moles of SO2Cl2 reacts with 1 mole. 1 mole of SO2Cl2 reacts with 0.1 mole. Therefore, it is true. Its aqueous solution does not give pink color with phenolphthalein. Good question. Now, first of all, what is it? What about its aqueous solution? SO2Cl2, when it reacts with H2O, like it undergo hydrolysis simply. Here OH will be added, here H plus. Here OH will be added, here H plus. Therefore, SO2Cl2 when it reacts with the H2O, it is going to form H2SO4 plus 2HCl. Therefore, it is going to be which solution? Acidic solution. In acidic solution, phenolphthalein indicator, what is its characteristic? Nothing, no characteristic. Colorless solution. Therefore, A, B, C, D. 46th question, A, B, C as well as the D. So, those are the options. Yeah, question number 47. Here they have given 3A, fused rise to products, and given that K, which is the rate constant, and they have mentioned that this is zero order reaction because R is equals to K into concentration of A power 0, hence this is a zero order. But from this, R is equals to minus 1 divided by 3 d by dt of concentration of A is equals to K into concentration of A power 0. K into concentration of A power 0. Now, just equate these two because they have mentioned in terms of the concentration at a time t as well as C naught. Therefore, we have to write the integral equation for this. Now, d of A is equals to minus 3k dt. Integrate on both sides 0 to t, whereas this is from C naught to Ct. Now you see at a time t equal to 0, concentration is C naught. At a time t, concentration will be Ct. Now from this, it could be here Ct minus C naught is equals to minus 3k t minus 0, which implies that Ct minus C naught is equals to minus 3k t. Minus 3k t. So based on these options, then we can set it up. That is one option which is going to be here. If you look at this one, this expression, now can I write like the C naught minus Ct is equals to 3kt. Now it is almost like y is equals to mx. So by taking C naught minus Ct on y-axis and time on x-axis, straight line which is passing through the origin. Whereas in this, it will be Ct is equals to minus 3k now minus 3k t minus 3k t plus C naught. Y is equals to minus mx plus c. Therefore, the slope is going to be, here it will be Ct on y-axis and on x-axis tan t. Now it will be like this. Slope is going to be minus 3k. So both options B as well as C. Option B as well as option C. Next, question number 48. Question number 48. This is already there in the previous FST's exams also. Now again we will see. In this, lambda of 0.01 molar MgCl2 is lambda of 0.01 molar. Therefore, we could say this is lambda C is equals to 220 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Lambda naught of MgCl2 is equals to 240 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Lambda naught of Mg plus 2 is equals to 100 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. From this we can get this one as lambda naught of MgCl2 is equals to lambda naught of Mg plus 2 into lambda naught of Cl minus. Lambda naught of MgCl2 which is given as 240, lambda naught of Mg plus 2 that is 100 plus 2 into lambda naught of Cl minus. Now it's going to be lambda naught of Cl minus is equals to 70 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Now all above measurements are done in an electrolytic cell, assuming MgCl2 is to be a strong electrolyte. Which of the following statements are incorrect? Now let's see the first option. Limiting equivalent conductivity of MgCl2 is 60 Simon centimeter square equivalent inverse. As we all know that, first of all, we have to be having real little clarity about the molar conductance as well as the equivalent conductance. Molar conductance lambda m is equals to K into 1000 divided by m. lambda EQ is equals to K into 1000 divided by N. Now lambda M divided by lambda EQ is equals to normality divided by molarity, molarity into X divided by M. Therefore, equivalent conductance is equals to molar conductance divided by X factor. Such that, based on this formula, now lambda naught equivalent conductance of MgCl2 is equals to lambda naught molar conductance of Mg plus 2 divided by 2 plus 2 into plus lambda naught molar conductance of Cl minus divided by 1. That is equals to Mg plus 2 value, we already know, 100 this value. 100 divided by 2 plus 70. That is equals to 50 plus 70, that is equals to 120. But they have given it as 60 Simon centimeter square equivalent inverse. Therefore, that is wrong. Next. Lambda of MgCl2 varies linearly with its concentration. No, it's not like that. Actually, we have a formula for this. That is, lambda Cm is equals to lambda naught M minus some constant A into root C. This is known as Debye-Huckel-Onsager equation, and this is Debye-Huckel-Onsager constant. A is going to be Debye-Huckel-Onsager constant. Lambda Cm is not going to be linearly varied with concentration. It is going to be varied with the square root concentration. Yeah. Next, that is also option incorrect. Therefore, answer is correct. Lambda of 0.04 molar MgCl2 will be 160 Simon centimeter square mole inverse. Now let's calculate this one. Lambda Cm we have already given 220. That is equal to lambda naught M also we know. What is the lambda naught M of this one? 240 minus A into Debye-Huckel on this one we have to calculate 4 into 10 power minus 2 power 1 divided by 2. Now this is going to be A into 2 into 10 power minus 1 is equals to 20. That is equals to A equals to 20 divided by 0.2. That is equals to 200. 100, no? 20.2. Therefore, this is going to be 0.110. Oh yeah, 100. Now let's calculate at 0.01 molar how it is going to be. Lambda Cm is equals to lambda naught M 240 minus A value is 100. A value which is going to be 100 and yeah, 1 minute. Here we have taken at 0.014 molar. 220, this is at a concentration of 10 power minus 2. If this is at 10 power minus 2, then it is going to be 10 power minus 1, and it will be, here it is going to be 10 power minus 1, 0.1. A is equals to 200. Yeah, now it is. A equals to 200. Now let us calculate lambda Cm, which means lambda Cm at concentration of 0.04 molar. Now we will calculate. MgCl2 is equals to 240 minus 200 into 4 into 10 power minus 2. Right. Now it will be 240 minus 200 into 2 into 10 power minus 1. Now this is going to be 440. That is equals to how much it is going to be? So option D is correct. But we need incorrect option. Therefore, options are going to be A, B, C. These are the incorrect options that we have. Next, question number 49. Comes to the question number 49. Balance the following chemical reaction with the simplest integer coefficients A, B, C, D and E, and then choose the correct option. Now it will be Cr2O7 2 minus plus H2O2 gives rise to CrO, O2 taken twice, plus H2, that is okay. Now here we have 2 chromium, we have to put 2 chromium here. Now it is going to be, this is going to be plus 12, and here it will be minus 2, minus 4, 6, therefore it is going to, this is minus 2, minus 2, minus 4, minus 6, plus 12. Therefore, chromium oxidation state is not going to be changed. Then whose oxidation state is changed? Oxygen oxidation state will be changed. That is changing from minus 1 to minus 2. Such that here chromium oxidation state that will be changed from Cr2O7 to minus, that is therefore 2x minus 14 is equal to minus 2, 2x is equals to plus 12. Right. Next, here this will be 2x minus 4, minus 4, this will be each one minus 2, minus 4 is equals to 0, 2x is equals to plus 8. Therefore, the difference which will be, how much the difference will be? This is 2x minus 4, minus 4, minus 4, each one minus 2, minus 2, minus 4, minus 8. Therefore, 2x is equals to plus 12 only. Therefore, chromium oxidation state is not at all changing. Then whose oxidation state is going to be changed? So, not like this, we will just try to balance the equations with normally. Here we will put 2 and we will do one thing. Then after oxygen oxidation state will be changed now. Here we will put 1 only for this. For H2O2, in order to balance this one, we have to write H plus also. So if we put 4 here, and this is going to be how much we have to put H2O. If we put 4, we'll do one thing, put 5 here, and these are going to be 2. Now equation is balanced. This is A, this is B, and C, D as well as E. Now you can answer your question. Question number 50. Along with each complex, 2 state of hybridization concerned with the 2 different elements of the corresponding complex are mentioned. Correct match are. Question number 50. Cu NH3 taken 4 times plus 2. Here the hybridization is going to be, as we all know, is correct, dsp2. Here this d orbital should be, because this is square planar, this is going to be dx square y square orbital, and sp3 hybridization for whom? This ammonia, sp3 hybridization, that is 2. This is option A. Option B. In option B, Ni CO taken 4 times. Just now we have seen this one, just now the first or second question, it seems to be, this is going to be sp3 hybridization. In carbon monoxide, triple bond is there, therefore hybridization is going to be sp. Next, C. Rhenium, Cl taken 6 times, 4 minus. It's going to be, definitely it is going to be D2sp3 hybridization, no doubt about it, because if it is coordination number 4, it should be dsp2, no doubt, because rhenium, it belongs to the 5D, 4D, 5D series, in both any one of the series except 3D. Any other metal is present, then every ligand is going to be strong ligand, and if its coordination number is equal to 4, it forms a square planar. If its coordination number is 6, it should be octahedral. True. Now it is D2sp3 hybridization. Now cyanide, we know that cyanide hybridization is going to be sp. Now cobalt to NO2 taken 6 times, so 3 minus. Cobalt to NO2 taken 6 times. 6 times they have mentioned. Therefore, cobalt NO2 taken 6 times. If you take this one, it should be either D2sp3 or sp3d. How it is going to be? How it is going to be D3sp2, which will be wrong assumption. Therefore, these are true. A, B as well as C are going to be true. So, with question number 50, there the physical inorganic part is completed. Now, let's see the section 2 part. In this we have, they were mentioned, section 2, question number 57 we have. In question number 57, solid A is water insoluble, while a red solid B is water soluble. Heating A and B produces a colorless gas C and a reddish brown gas D respectively, leaving residues E, which is yellow, and F black. A and B, when heated together, produce a green colored solid G. G is also obtained on heating E and F together. E becomes white on adding water, but it fails to dissolve in water. Then what these are going to be? Now let us see. A is water insoluble. B should be water soluble. A should be water insoluble. B should be soluble. Next. On heating, A and B produces colorless gas C and reddish brown gas. Whenever you see a reddish brown gas, then you can remember like nitrogen dioxide or bromine, Br2. Those are very much fond, where we are going to be very much fond of. Now let us see. A I have, B also I have. A is going to be water insoluble. It will be water soluble. Water soluble. A and B upon heating produces colorless gas C. A gives colorless gas C. Colorless. B upon heating it produces gas D, which is reddish brown. Reddish brown gas. Respectively, leaving residues E yellow. E yellow. Here some E which is in yellow color. And F black. Black color. F is in black color. A and B, when heated together, produce a green colored solid G. If both A and B upon heating, it produces green colored compound G. Now G is also obtained on heating E and F together, and they also mentioned the same compound you will get when you heat with E as well as F also. Again, same compound G you are going to get, the same thing. E becomes white on adding water, but it fails to dissolve in water. E becomes white upon adding water, but it fails to dissolve in water. We'll see what it is going to be. Now let's see. First option, let us suppose that A is a ZnCO3. Yeah, ZnCO3 is water insoluble. Pb3O4. But Pb3O4 upon heating it produces O2, that is colorless gas. So therefore that is wrong. CrO3. CrO3 upon heating gives colorless gas, that is true. But sulfur dioxide, ZnSO4 upon heating it is not reddish brown. Therefore option B is also wrong. Now let us suppose option C. COCO3, yes, colorless gas, carbon dioxide will be produced. SO2, that is also colorless. So therefore that is also not true. Next. Fourth option, that is ZnCO3, and here you take CO, NO3 taken twice. When you heated this one, it is going to produce carbon dioxide, yes, colorless gas. It produces ZnO. ZnO is actually white color if it is in cold condition, whereas it is yellow when it is in hot condition. That's why they have mentioned, when you treat with water it converted to white, but it is insoluble, that is true. Zinc oxide is not soluble. Next, yeah, CONO3 taken twice, reddish brown, yes, nitrogen dioxide. Here COO. This COO plus that ZnO, when both of them are combined together, they are going to form ZnCOO2, Reneman green. The same thing will happen with this one also, Reneman greens. Reneman's green. ZnCO3 plus CONO3 taken twice, if both of them are upon heated, they are going to produce the same compound, remains green color. Therefore, A and B are respectively are ZnCO3 and CONO3 taken twice. Yeah, in question number 58, E and F reacted together to give G. Select the incorrect option. If E and F, both of them are reacted with each other, it forms remains green. Just now we have spoken. With this G compound, if you see here, this is giving oxygen, therefore it serves as acid. It's not a redox reaction because definitely it is not redox reaction. Either cobalt or zinc oxidation states are not changed. Therefore, E functions as base, that is a wrong thing. E functions as oxidant reductant, that is bullshit. Therefore, the wrong options are going to be B, C as well as D. B, C and D. So this is the end of the paper 1 and we will see. Hope you have done well in the paper 1. This is bit lengthier paper. So unless you practice these type of papers, it is not so easy to answer. It's a bit lengthy paper. It is good that this type of papers you have to write before the exams. Hope you are going to do well the paper 2.